Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Nick Collier here, and we're off on another machine adventure. Over there yesterday, I made a buffer stand, and I'll show you a picture of that. And on top of the stand is a little 175 or 1700 RPM motor and a 10-inch wire wheel. And I'm going to put an 8-inch heavier duty wire wheel on this opposite side. But for now I have to make a, what is it? You'll see what it is when I get to it. Okay, let's go over now. Yesterday I came in and just laid out and welded up 3 legs on this shaft. In fact, this shaft came off of the old table model drill press that I had, which was perfect, and put this old Delta motor on top of it. And you know, this thing's out of the 50s and it's still running like a dream. There's no problems. And I need to make a mandrel on this side to fit this brush, which I picked up, I don't know, some time ago, and I've been meaning to, you know, put it into service. And then I also just a couple hours ago bought a coarse brush, and I'll put that on this side and make a mandrel for that once I get it. So hey, let's go over to the lathe and look at the possibilities of what we have to do in order to get this thing to sit onto your, you know. Okay, well, here's what we got. Yesterday I did this drawing, and but I made it a little too short. So, but I got all the measurements right. I just had to extend this backside a little bit. So I came back in and did a quick sketch on here and just put some depth measurements so that we can work from that. So we've got 1 3/4, 2, 3, 4 inches total length, and then a nut or a good sized washer to kind of clamp down on it, and a left-handed nut. So and I went to the hardware store and got a left-handed nut screw, making it if you can buy it. So let's turn around, go to the lathe, see what we've got, and yippee! All right, this looks pretty good. We need 4 inches, and how much do we have here? 1, 2, 3, and there is 4 inches. So 4 inches will take us to there, so we can scoop this thing back in just a little further. I'm thinking that's probably gonna do the trick. Now, what we want to do is get this 1/2 inch hole as square as we can get it. And I'm thinking the only way to do that is to drill the hole first. Cut this off, drill the hole first, and put it between centers, because this really has to be squared up. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and cut this at 4 inches. And we got 4 inches somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. And we'll come back. Okay, that's it. I have been dealing with this piece of shit platform for, you know, 3 or 4 years now that I've owned this saw. And the platform not only is bent down a little bit, which means that every time I try to put something in here, it pulls down. But notice how it doesn't actually reach all the way over. I mean, I could certainly move this that way, but I don't get it. This thing's, you know, bad design. And of course this tool's probably 30 or 40 years old, so somebody's been fighting with this all this time, and nobody has gotten around to changing it. I'm changing it today. God damn it. So I think what I'm going to do is come in with a piece of angle iron I mean, not angle, but channel, and go ahead and take my piece here and cut it, and then we will come up with something that's going to work. And I want to kind of bring it out just a little further too. So let's get this in first. There we go. And just a little bit further, be like another ½ inch. Maybe even an inch. Alright, so let's take some measurements here. So we're going to come from there out to the tip. So we're going to come to 3 3/4 inches. Drop this down. That is definitely not 3 3/4 inches. Three and a half. A little bit. There we go. Tighten it up. And let's start cutting. Since it's going to take time to cut that and get that all set up, we'll go ahead and cut this little plug on the small saw. So you hear both of us going at one time. Alright, well, in order to get this thing to square up, and because the saw didn't cut it right, we're just going to run the mill bit across there and see what we can come up with. And we know that that's going to catch it at some place. I don't know, that last piece was cut so bad I just chucked it and cut a new piece, and now it's a little more square. I've only had to take about 30 thousandths off so far, and this is going to be a lot easier. Almost made it. In fact, I could say it made it. Alright, so now we'll bring this around, and I think probably the best thing to do is do the bottom first. Crank up the air. And we're just going to catch these edges here just to get that squared up so that when we do the top it's going to be nice and flat. And we'll bring this down. Alright, that's good. Flip it over. And we're sitting nice and square. We'll come in with our little larger cutter. All right, well, looks like we popped one of the bits out and moved this one on the last time we used this thing, so we're gonna have to come in and get this cleaned back up again. And all right, let's take this up a bit. Spread some oil on the whole mess. Let's see what side this is on. Yeah, let's bring this over to the squared up side. Nice and flat on both sides. Let's tap it down, make sure. That looks pretty good. All right, well, it did okay, but it didn't quite clean up. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and do 2 and 2 and just take like, oh, I don't know, maybe 10 thousandths. Let's try that. More oil. And okay, so now what we want to do is put a slot right down the center of this, about a 1/2 inch deep and 3/4, well, actually 7/8 wide, but we'll take a second cut once we do that. So we're just gonna kind of travel real slow and move right on over. Let's get some oil on this. All right, so we got our clip made. Boom. A little bit bigger, a little bit wider, a little bit more, a little squarer, less beat up and bent down and banged around. One thing I didn't do is I didn't put a bolt head in right here, so I think I need to do that before we go too much further. But for right now, we're going to get rid of this bracket here, and of course the only way I can do that is torch it out, and we are going to do that. The old oxyacetylene. I guess I better get the blade out of the way. And a piece of wood. All right, let's go get a sledgehammer and see what we got. There we go. It looks good. Do we even need to clean up those edges? I don't think so. Just go in there and put it right over the top of it. That's cool. All right, but we do want to get some of that paint and the scunge off, and we want to weld that on before we move too much. All right, first thing we're going to do is weld that nut on. Pretty easy deal, I think. I hope. I do want to get this up though a little bit. Put a couple of these in there. Okay. That should square it up. Looks pretty good. Phone's ringing. Be back. All right, let's give it a go. See what we can do here. Pretty straight, pretty even. How does that look? That needs a little bit of tweaking. And a little bit that way. That's better. That looks good. I think everybody's happy. Well, a little bit that way. There we go. Looks good. Finish it up here. Reasonably good set of welds. we're ready to put this on. Since we're gonna want this thing level with that table, I just put a little piece of steel out here so that it would be, so I could butt up against it and know that we're level. And we need the ground, helmet, and piece. I'm thinking we're going to put a clamp in that. And maybe we'll just put some weight on top of that. Let's see what we've got here. There we go. That gets us in place. That gets everybody happy. We could actually come this way just a little bit. All right, let's see what we got. Nice and square, nice and locked in. Get rid of this stuff. Make sure our blade's gonna drop down in the right place. Oh, look at that. My God, that's beautiful. Yep, just perfect. Throw another little bead right there. Finish that one up. We are ready to go. Now the only thing I didn't consider was how far this can come in. And it can come in most of the way, so that's pretty good. Little oil helps, and this part is done. So let's go back to the other project. All right, back to our original project. And what we want to do is drill a hole in the center of this, a little bit under two or ½ inch, and then come back with a ½ inch reamer and ream that out so we got a nice perfect fit. And then we set it between centers and cut it. And that way we can flip it too. So, coming back. All right, let's square up that edge first, or that end, and then we'll come in and test it with the motor. Make sure. Okay, so we've got our two centers set, and now I'm going to trim this down to, what size do I trim it to? It really doesn't matter. Probably an inch or something like that, so that I can attach the lathe dog to it. So we'll go from there, and hey, let's get going. Okay, so we've got our basic shape here, and I think since we've got the 4-jaw in here, let's just chuck it up on this and center with this, because we're zeroed out. Of course, are we zeroed out on the other side? That's the question. Well, we'll have to look and see. Let's take it out. Have a look. I'm going to take it over and drop it in the water. And I think that's going to be pretty much it for the day. We'll come back tomorrow. See you then.